An Israeli airstrike this morning, an ominous warning of much worse to come. For Gaza City, or rather what remains of it, pounded for month after month, yet still home for 1 million people. The Israeli government has now set its army the task of taking these battered streets. Against a backdrop of protest in Jerusalem, the plan was approved overnight in a marathon sitting of Israel's security cabinet, despite the reservations of the country's military command, perhaps explaining why this is not quite the full occupation that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had promised.
Will Israel take control of all of Gaza?
We intend to, in order to assure our security, remove Hamas there, enable the population to be free of Gaza, and to pass it to civilian governance.
But for the starving people of Gaza, 2 million desperate souls, already crammed into just a quarter of this tiny territory, the threat is a fresh catastrophe heaped upon humanitarian calamity. There has been a chorus of international condemnation.
This further escalation will result in more massive forced displacement, more killing, more unbearable suffering, senseless destruction and atrocity crimes. The war in Gaza must end now.
Here, Sir Keir Starmer begged the Israeli government to reconsider. This action will do nothing to bring an end to this conflict, he said, or to help secure the release of the hostages. It will only bring more bloodshed. Hostages already freed by Hamas will lead more protests tonight, fearing for the lives of the 20 or so still captive, including this man's brother. This lunchtime, Germany, one of Israel's staunchest allies, suspended arms sales in protest. But the fate of Gaza City and its people seems sealed. John Ray, ITV News.
Well, this is what the Israeli plan looks like. There are 5 principles: the disarming of Hamas, the return of all the hostages, both living and dead, the demilitarization of the Gaza Strip, Israeli security control in the Gaza Strip, and the establishment of an alternative civil administration that is neither Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority. Well, let's go to our political correspondent, Harry Horton, who's at Westminster for us. And Harry, the British government, but not just them, others, very fearful of this Israeli plan.
Yeah, that's right. And Keir Starmer issued that statement criticising these plans quite early this morning, shortly after the announcement from Israel's government. But there have been calls for the UK government to go much further. The Liberal Democrat leader, Ed Davey, said this lunchtime he thinks that what Israel is doing amounts to ethnic cleansing, and he's called on the government to stop all arms exports to Israel and to sanction the Israeli Prime Minister and the entire cabinet. Now, the UK has sanctioned some Israeli cabinet ministers last year, just shortly after Labour got into power. It suspended some arms export licences, but clearly the UK government could go much further, like Germany has this lunchtime. We were hearing about in John's report, suspending all export licences, arms export licences to Israel. There's been criticism from EU leaders, from Australia. I think if the UK were to take further action, it would likely be coordinated with other international partners, as we've seen in the past. Now, in the next 20 minutes or so, the Foreign Secretary David Lammy will be meeting with the US Vice President J.D. Vance down in Chevening. The US, of course, one of Israel's strongest backers. I expect the topic of Gaza and the situation there will be fairly high on their agenda.